I'm a guy that's 24. Each day I build some more. I like episode 7 and episode 8. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back with another video, and this is going to be episode 41 of the Starkiller base mock build series. Before we get into the update, I want to give a very special thanks to those of you who contributed to the live streams via Super Chat. I really appreciate it, so shout out to Brix Films, 9, Chris Blank Productions, SW Brix 75, Lord of the Bricks, Alex Mcbrick, Xavier Sorrent, Matthew T, Alex Schlafer, Dreadwing 2029, Ethan BLissett, and Cashew CLix. You guys are awesome. I cannot stress to you how helpful it is for you guys to contribute via Super Chats, and if you guys are not tuning into the live streams, I urge you to do so. It is a great way for you to not only see the mock early, but to also hang around with some boyos, talk Star Wars. It literally does not get better than that. This week is a very special week because we are starting a new section of the mock. We're starting the prison room in Starkiller base, and I am so excited to start this section just because it is unique. It's unlike any other room in this mock. I think I'm going to be using some pretty cool build techniques, and that's really what this episode is going to be about. Throughout the week, I realized there were a lot of just specific parts that I did not have in the right colors in bulk quantities, so I had to place a lot of orders that just didn't show up on time. So rather than pushing back the update, I just decided to try to use what I had. So some of the things, actually a lot of the things you see are just not going to be in the correct color, but I think I do a pretty sufficient job breaking down some of the techniques I use to really show you guys how I'm coming up with some of the things I'm building. I also want to say, like, how awesome does that section look right there next to me in this video? I can't wait to get the prison done. It'll be sitting right on top of here and we'll be good to go. But let's go ahead and jump right into the update. Before we get into today's build, I want to show you guys what this is all going to be based on. So this is basically me in game in Star Wars Battlefront 2. This is the Starkiller base level, and I am currently in the prison. So to give you an idea of what I'm working on for this specific room, this is the main section of the room. This is like a command station in the middle of the room. So that's what I've started here with this cone section. Over to the bottom right side, you'll see some stairs and some actual prison cells like in here, and that's basically going to be represented by this section of the room. If you haven't caught on, I'm basically just building half of the room. So if you took like a cross section starting right here of the room and just built everything backwards, that's what I'm going to be building here. So towards the back of the room, there's going to be some prison cells over there, like you can see right here, and someone's shooting me. This is what's so difficult about trying to get reference material. You hop in the game, you want to just like look at stuff to build mocks, and people will start shooting at you. It's so annoying. But over here in the back, there are these cells with these glowy red vents over them. So that's going to be pretty interesting to build. They're going to be kind of right here in the mock. And then even above that, what's actually going to be pretty fun to build, is this balcony up here. There's going to be rocks and some doors that go nowhere in the mock. And then finally, there's going to be a ceiling with some scaffolding going across it. So there are tons of things that I'm going to have to build in this room, but I hope it all comes together well. All right, now that you've seen Battlefront 2, let's check in on what I actually built this week. Like I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a light on the build side, but heavy on the technique side. I just had a shortage of parts that really disabled me from making significant progress. I didn't want to just have this whole thing be a mishmash of colors that I'd have to end up tearing down anyways. So first room we're going to take a look at here is the actual prison cell. Well, one of the prison cells. You can see I got Barriss Offee chilling on the bed. We'll throw her away for now. I really like the way this room came out, specifically because of this hollow door right here, this shield basically that keeps the prisoners from escaping. I like this because it has the red lights shining through those trans clear elements to give basically the illusion of it being like a red shield. I basically just put some black bricks behind it. I would have loved to have actually put some sort of hallway or something on this side of the build, but this is actually where the end of the mock is, so there's really just no way to incorporate that, unfortunately. But the room looks pretty decent. It's pretty bare bones in terms of its design. Like, there is a bed, and I still need a tile off the floor with some black tiles, but other than that, you don't really expect to see much in a prison cell, so that's basically what I incorporated inside of this room. Now this side where the window is actually the most complex part of this room. If you tuned into the live stream, you actually saw me design this live on the stream, which was pretty cool. I don't typically try to design things on stream. It's just difficult to really get those creative juices flowing and come up with something that you really think is going to be good. But I do quite like this design. It's comprised of basically 4 basic sections. The first 2 are these little arch assemblies. This one actually just sits on top because it's upside down, and then this one on the bottom is actually connected to those bricks. So you can see there's the arches that basically go around the inner arches. And the reason the design looks like this, I do want to say, one, there aren't going to be yellow. This is all supposed to be dark gray once I get those parts in, and you'll really see that as a theme in this episode. The idea behind this is I want this curve in here for the window. That's the whole purpose of even trying to do this design. I thought this arch right here, the curve was too big. I wanted a smaller curve, and fortunately Lego doesn't have a piece like this but smaller, so I had to basically do this roundabout design to get this small radius of a curve inside of this window. The nice thing about the parts Lego offers is this arch basically fits perfectly into this curved brick, so I was able to just connect it in here upside down. I think this actually slides out as well, so you can get an idea of how that works. So you can see if I take this out, this is a much bigger curve than the one that's inside of it. So that basically slides in there, and it gives you this nice smaller curve aesthetic on the inside of the window. The thing I really like about this design is it's pretty unconventional. It's not something you would typically see with this smaller curve on the inside. So I think that alone makes it very unique looking. I think if you wanted to take it a step further, you could actually try to make like the outside portion of this build a separate color and then have just the inner ring section as its own color to really make it pop. But for the purposes of this build, as you saw earlier, I'm just gonna go with the basic dark grays in here because that's what it looks like in the video game. You'll notice the same design is also replicated on the inside of the cell, just because you'll be able to see this, and I didn't want to leave it just bare bones on the inside. So I think that actually came out pretty well. I'm super stoked to get the correct colors in for this section because I think once this window comes together, it's gonna look pretty incredible. And then also on the inside, there are just those 1x6x5 panels in trans clear to represent the actual window part. So hopefully that was a decent little breakdown of how I achieved this window design. I think it actually probably helps you guys to see this all in different colors to get an idea of how I accomplished this. So if you want to build a window like this, take a picture, take a screenshot of this, use it as reference. I definitely won't mind. The next thing I want to talk about are these stairs. These stairs are, I'm so proud of these stairs. I think they look incredible. This is a design I've been wanting to try for quite some time, and I'm so excited to incorporate this into this build. The basic reason I decided to even try to do a design like this was I wanted stairs with the gaps between them. Most stairs you'll see in Lego are just standard full stairs. These stairs are basically just comprised of 3 basic sections. There's the 2 holders on each side, and then there are the actual steps that are sandwiched between them. I basically just used these 1x1 plates with actually 1x1 round plates with a bar on the end, and they're connected to each step, and then that's how the steps connect to these 1x2 rounded plates on the edges of the steps. If you're wondering about handrails, I actually did come up with a quick design for some handrails. It's illegal. If you have reservations with illegal techniques, I don't know, close your eyes right now. But this is my idea for the handrail. I'm probably actually going to get rid of the lightsaber hilt and use something else, probably some flex tube or something so it can, one, be long enough to actually go up, but I don't know, I feel like the hilt also just kind of sticks out right there. But that's my general idea for these stairs. I think they actually look really good, and you're really going to appreciate these once both handrails are built up, and it gives the minifigs access to this platform that's going to be on top of here. So I love that stair design. I have pieces on the way to complete it, and I think you guys are really, really going to like it. This has to be one of my favorite things that I've come up with design-wise for this build. It's something I've wanted to try for such a long time, and the fact that it came out so well makes me very happy. The final thing we're going to go over today is this main cone section, and there's so many parts of this to talk about. I'll first start off with the base because I think the design I came up with here is actually pretty nice. In the game, there's basically this like command tower right here, and it's conical, but there's these like columns on 4 sides of it that stick out, so that's why this plate is here. And at the very bottom there's this round shape that kind of is a trim around the base of it, and then there's basically just these floor sections that are actually raised from the floor in the room, and they go to all the walls in the build, or I'm sorry, in the actual room in the game. So that's kind of how I represented that here. I like this because you get a reasonable circular looking shape here with these curved bricks in here. I can actually remove some of these panels to give you a better idea of how that specific part was accomplished. So this is just a look on the inside of the cone, and you can see things are a bit complicated in here. I initially just started off by having these panel sections as their own little assemblies. I was using 2 of these hinges, one of them to get this thing to like rock back and forth, and then another to get it like angled at a 45-degree angle on the actual plate. And it was just so problematic using all those hinges to get everything lined up perfectly. So I instead opted for a more simple design where I basically just built a cross, and that ensured me that they were all spaced appropriately and angled appropriately to each other. They all basically just 45-degree rotations on this cross, and that worked out so much better for me. So sometimes just the most simple and straightforward approach for design can be the most effective and the one that actually works. The one nice thing about this design is it allowed me to basically just clip on these sections right here, and they fit so perfectly. It honestly is a miracle how perfectly this came together. There's this like round section right here with these 1x4 round bricks, and then it literally just clips on to the bottom here, and they all just fit perfectly between these 1x4 brick sections. And this is actually what keeps this thing from spinning. You can see down in here there's this like turntable piece. If they weren't like sandwiched between these sections right here, this would actually just be able to freely rotate, which was kind of annoying. But sandwiching it between these things works perfectly and get it to actually remain static. So I think that's pretty cool. In terms of the actual cone shape, like I said, there's just these little sections with the 1x3 curved slopes on them, and they all come together to give you a decent looking cone shape. Making cones in Lego is not simple. It's not straightforward at all. Especially, you know, if you don't have these columns, you're left with these gaps to try to fill in. Fortunately, there are all these columns here, so I literally can just cover it with a plate. And then I'll eventually actually just build this up, and I'll be done with it. That's awesome. I love that. Nice and simple. So the final part of this is this section right here. And this was, I spent so much time trying to come up with this. This was not easy to design at all, but the bottom of this here just is so seamless. It makes me so happy. I love the way it came together. And actually just remove it from this top section right here. You can see the way it's connected is upside down. So I'm using basically a 2x2 plate here, and then a 2x2 with a stud in the middle, and then the 2x2 round plate to basically be able to invert this. And this is what it looks like. Like, this is pretty freaking cool in my opinion. I love it when these like wedge plates and tiles all come together to make a pretty seamless, nice like cone shape. Like if you wanted to make like a window or something, this would actually work pretty well for that. But if you look on the inside, you can see there's just a bunch of hinge plates going all around it, and then there's these hinge bricks on the underside of it, which are what gives these wedge plates and the 2x4 tiles their slant, and then it literally just sits on top of here, and it comes together so well. Like, I think this command center is just going to stick out so much. Like, it's, when you look at this MOC, when you look at this room specifically, this is going to be the biggest section, and it's in the middle, so it's going to pop out just because of that. So the fact that I'm using some pretty cool techniques, things you don't typically see in builds, I think it's going to go a long way in making this room look especially cool. But really, that's all I got for you guys this week. I even started working on another cell over there. Like I said, I'm kind of disappointed I wasn't able to give you a ton of just build progress. It's mostly just designs and techniques and things that I had to really get right to make any progress with this room. But I think in the next week, if these orders come in, that's what everything is contingent on. If these orders come in, you guys are going to see a vastly different and a vastly improved room once I can actually get these colors corrected and build up a lot of like the gel cells around the area. Hopefully you guys got a little bit of something out of this episode, though, just kind of taking a peek into my brain and how I just went about designing a lot of these parts of this MOC, and like the Snoke hologram room, I'm trying to do some advanced techniques here, just things that really make this not just a big MOC, but like any section you look at, there's some detail, there's a technique or two that you can learn from, and something that you might want to implement into your own build. That's really my biggest focus with this MOC. And one other thing I forgot to mention is over behind here, I actually did a pretty cool wall technique. You can see there are these little, I don't even know what you'd call it. It's a shape. It is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-sided shape. It's like in a regular octagon, whatever you call it. It is basically just a design in the wall, and it's kind of unfortunate it gets hidden by these stairs when they're in place, but this is actually accurate to the game. Over here in this section, there's this little subtle design in the wall. Getting this to stick out by half a plate and be kind of sandwiched in here, because this entire assembly is actually upside down, if you couldn't tell by the studs down there. I had to do a little bit of tricky work here. So there's this like bracket piece, and I can actually just pull this out, give you guys a look at it. But there's this bracket piece connected to this 1x2 Technic brick with 2 holes. But that basically just offsets it by half a plate, so that bracket alone is what pushes it forward to be like slightly sticking out of the wall. And also by having it reversed in this Technic brick, that's what allows it to basically just fit perfectly into this hole at the correct height. Unfortunately, this is just one of those things that you'd never notice unless you took a really, really close look at the MOC up under there. But I know it's there, and that's all that matters, because I know how much detail I put into this MOC, and now you guys know how much detail I put into this MOC. And that's gonna finish things up today, guys. I hope you enjoyed checking out Starkiller Base. I hope I did a pretty good job at breaking down like which parts of the prison are going to be in the build. Hope you guys just have a pretty good idea of how that's gonna work. I think if you don't, then once we progress even further with it, once I get more of these sections built up, you'll have a much more clear idea of what's actually gonna be incorporated into this room. But it's going to be a lot. This is going to be a very big, detailed, and filled with lights room. So I'm just so excited to make more progress on it, but it's really going to be contingent on whether or not those orders come in on time. So hopefully next week I have a ton more progress to show you guys outside of just the many colorful things I had to show you today. But that's going to finish it up today, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you like what I do, go ahead and support this video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.